So that's it. Let's start. So Arjan, can you tell us some words about the IAPR, please?
Yes, thank you for your kind introduction. So let me share my screen where I hope you can see my screen. Yes. So yes, you mentioned the AAPR several times. So I'm not sure if everybody knows the AAPR, or at least um, they, I guess most people have seen it, because when you register, you see that when you're a member of an organization that's participating in the AAPR, you get a reduced fee. So that's of course for a lot of people an interesting aspect. Um, but what are we? What is the AAPR? And as this image shows, it's basically this worldwide connection of people working together in computer vision, in image analysis, in pattern recognition. Um, and basically, we're formed by these 50 national scientific societies. So you can see them on the card, on the map here. So there are some white spots. So we're working on that. We would like to cover the whole Earth. Um, of course, this whole Corona thing is kind of annoying, because hey, you cannot meet in presence, which is something we would all like, because I mean, basically for discussions and meeting face to face is perfect. But when I looked at the participants and the people where they come from, it's located on the whole Earth. So it's kind of, that's of course an advantage we have now, that we, with this digital um, um, help, we can meet, and we can also meet with people we otherwise would not have met. So that's also one of the aspects of the AAPR. So we have basically technical committees, we have so-called standing committees, and of course we have these 50 national organizations that work together to make this AAPR. And people from these national societies, they meet once every 2 years at ICPR. This year virtually, of course, in a digital way, to discuss the way we would like to proceed. And they vote for the new executive committee. So this is the least important slide, but yes, there are some persons working on it, because they like this idea of bringing people together. And bringing people together is basically what it is. What does it bring you as a member of the AAPR? Well, of course, as I said, you can have it's easy to join by becoming member of your local country association, for instance, in Chile. And it's kind of a reduced fee, but of course, when you go to a conference, you get this reduction if it's an APR conference, meaning it pays off. Um, then a lot of organizations, a lot of conferences have the proceedings with Springer. You can, as an APR member, have free access to these proceedings if it's not already covered by a university, but otherwise you can have them free as well. We have scholarships for students, PhD students, who want to stay for a certain period at another university, another country, work together with someone else. You can apply for a scholarship, and then typically a part of the costs are covered. We have summer and winter schools that are supported, and of course, as an APR member, when you have difficulties to go to a summer school because, for instance, it's far away, the APR will cover travel funds for a certain amount of students. We have, of course, connections with industry. If you want to do some kind of internship at an industry partner, we have a list of companies who have such a possibility. Of course, we have awards and prizes for people who have a long tradition of good publishing, or perhaps also good taking care of students. And of course, the main thing is get connected. Of course, by now, in a digital way, that's the most important thing. Get connected to other people by finding people who do similar kind of research, but in other countries, or like at this conference, do different kinds of research, but in pattern recognition, vision, etc., in the same country or in the same region. And basically, get connected means you can join a so-called technical committee, and by that build lifetime relationships and have possibilities to, well, do more joint publications, learn from each other, etc. So technical committees, a long, boring list that you can see, but it's kind of pattern recognition, vision, imaging, in all kinds of areas, more statistical way, structural way. Of course, AI is what everybody does, but more focusing on AI as a research area, in biometrics, in graphic system reading systems, in handwriting recognition, in graph-based representations, in cultural heritage, name it, we have it. So basically, as member of an IAPR country, you can join one of these technical committees, meet other people, get connected with them, um, get in, well, perhaps get interested in making joint publications, publishing at one of these workshops or conferences. Most of these technical committees have their own workshops where they indeed focus on these specific topics. Again, get connected here. I would say this is one of the most important slides. And if it's too fast for you, if you want to read it, of course, in your own, when it's appropriate, AIPR.org is the thing you should remember from these 5 minutes that I'm talking. That's the most important thing. So, of course, as an organization from so many countries, we need to have several committees who take care of whatever admin stuff, by who can become members, what are the laws, etc., who can become the next exco. And we have the prize and awards committees for, well, people who do outstanding research. But the most interesting things are on the right side. And the link to industry, we have a committee taking care of how does it work when you're at the university and then go to industry? What kind of different ways of work do you have to learn? How can you make contacts? Of course, the meetings like ICPR, the once every 2 years, the big conference, but also the smaller meetings. How can we fund them? How can we help them in organizing, etc.? And service to community, I would say, making publicity, making IAPR known to people, so that people can indeed use IAPR for connecting, but also the education committee, for instance, where we try to collect all these invited talks and slides that are relevant, and distribute that to the members. And of course, as I said, we want to cover the whole Earth and not just a part of the Earth where people perhaps have enough money to go to conferences, or where it's traditionally a strong group, whatever. No, we want to connect basically everybody with everybody. So we're working on that as well. So basically, if you want to know more, AAPR.org, and then if you're there, register for the newsletter. Every well, four times a year, we have this newsletter where you can read everything that's going on, for instance, what you can see here on the left, on technical committees, on workshops, on meetings, on people, what they do, the next, the young generation, upcoming rising stars, whatever. We have it in the newsletter, so register for that as well. And with that, I conclude, and thank you for the time I got for this short introduction of the IAPR. I wish you all a excellent conference where you have, of course, enough input from speakers, from invited speakers, from people presenting, and of course have the option to connect to other people, perhaps not at a wine and conference dinner, but in this digital way. So I would encourage you to use that. So with that, thank you.
Thank you very much, Arjan. We have a question from Sergio. He's asking, is it possible to form a new IAPR tech committee?
Yes, definitely, yes. So these are, of course, committees that are there, and actually there's this pattern recognition for bioinformatics who are currently thinking of, well, restructuring themselves, and we have this this underwater environmental monitoring or underwater imaging committee. They're quite new, 2 years old. It was kind of underwater imaging came up and people got connected and they said, hey, we want to meet, connect. Can we do this under this umbrella of the IAPR? And we said, of course. I mean, the main thing is it should be people from several countries. It should be of interest within the IAPR. And then, of course, we're happy to start new technical committees. And as you see, it's dynamic because number 8 is missing here and whatever, 13, 14. So sometimes new technical committees come, sometimes they disappear because they are kind of, well, not that relevant anymore, or they are newly structured with a new name, etc. So yes, that's a dynamic thing. So again, contact us if you have interest in starting a new technical committee.
Thank you very much for your talk, Arjan.